All right. Hello, 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 and welcome to Shared Space with Quita and Chap. However, Chap is not here with us today, y'all. So let me just go ahead and introduce myself. I am Laquita Chansey, the founder and director of Small to More Homes, and we build micro shelters and tiny homes for folks who are unhoused. We also do financial literacy workshops, community building workshops, and all the things that the community needs. And that's how we came across Mr. Michael John, which Chap introduced me to you all. I think you and your partner came up to walk with the doc maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago or something. So go ahead and tell us, Michael, introduce yourself and tell us about yourself.
Cool. Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Um,
Awesome. Thank you for coming because
yeah,
we also did a little bit of StreamYard tag. Like we were supposed to have you on a little bit earlier. So I'm glad to finally have you. So, yes, go
yeah.
ahead. Mhm.
Cool. So my name is Michael John. I'm the founder and president of a nonprofit called the Agoge Project. We are a holistic youth development program that provides boxing, jujitsu, strength and conditioning, academic support, long-term mentorship, and life skills development to our youth here in Baltimore City. We've been in operation for this is our fifth year in operation.
Ooh,
And we actually just made a big move and a big scale up to a bigger 2,500 square foot facility in the Belair-Edison neighborhood. And so prior to moving here, we were servicing between 12 and 15 kids on a regular basis.
okay.
And now we're right around 25 kids. So we've already almost doubled our enrollment, and we're working our way towards 40 or 50, I think.
Wow, wow. So how often are you offering the workshops or the classes, I guess I should call them.
Yeah.
How often are the classes offered to the kids?
So our kids get over 1,000 hours a year of free out of school programming. That we
Wow.
are open Monday through Thursday from 4 to 7:30, and Saturdays we are open from 8:30, or I'm sorry, 8 to 11:30.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and they get 5 jujitsu sessions a week. They get 5 boxing sessions a week. They get 2 Spanish classes a week. They get 3 one-on-one tutoring sessions a week is available to them. And then on Saturdays, that's when we provide like life skills workshops. And we do things like gardening, nutrition, health and wellness. I would love to connect with you guys to have you guys come in and do a financial literacy seminar with our kids.
Right.
Um,
Yes. And then what age group? So what age group are you all working with?
So I take them at 10, and I
Okay.
keep them until they are off on their own, doing their own thing. We've got, some of our competing fighters right now are that have been in with us for a while are like 23, 24, but most of our kids are between 10 and 16, 17.
Right. Okay. So that's like fifth grade to high school age or
Yep.
graduating. Okay. I love that. I love that. And so now that you're in the Bel Air Edison area, are you getting more kids from that neck of the woods? Because I know Mervo is over in that area. Are you seeing an increase from the area? Like, do people know that you're there now?
Mhm. So we worked with Belair-Edison Neighborhood Incorporated. They were excellent with helping us out. Senator Corey McRae was super awesome with helping us out. Delegate Stephanie Smith has been amazing with helping us kind of network our way around. And I'm still a special educator in the city. I've been teaching for 9 years, and I work at Tunbridge Public Charter, which is ran by the AFIA Foundation.
Okay.
And so they run the two Belair-Edison schools.
Right.
So through that connection and partnership, we've been able to pull most of our kids are coming from the neighborhood, which was our goal, right? Our goal was to show up in the neighborhood, and to, before we started venturing outside of the neighborhood, to make sure that everybody knew we were here for a while, and
Right.
everybody that lives here had first opportunities to come and take advantage of it, because our program is 100% free.
Right. So I love all of that. And I know we're gonna have to run it back because those connections and recognizing like those assets and pouring into the community and just having that like community centered, development mindset. It's just
Mhm.
it's not natural for everybody. So it's like so awesome and warming to hear that
Yeah,
that's how, you all are getting your word out. Like that's the
yeah.
best way to do it. So you were saying that it's completely free. Now how does that work? How do you
Mm,
offer completely free thousands of hours
yeah.
to high school and middle school students? How is this happening? Tell me more, Michael.
Yeah, so to be honest with you, it couldn't happen if I didn't have an amazing team. I've got people that have been working with us for years that are passionate about passing their knowledge on to the next generation. And of course, they would love to get paid and love to be able to do this as a living. But right now, we've all been volunteering. So um, we have that has been our major struggle area, right? A lot of the foundations here in Baltimore City, they give to the same people every year. They
Talk
or
about it.
the one that we hear a lot is like, you guys haven't been established enough. We haven't seen another foundation give you any serious money, but yet we've raised over $35,000 on our own, going out to
Wow.
like coming out to your Sunday walks and networking with people and getting people to donate and sponsor, and just going around spreading our word and showing the people the work that we're doing. And
Right.
people in our community step up and give money, which is kind of sad. Like, it's like we've been around for a while. We've been showing people what we can do. We've been applying for grants. We've applied to Family League. We've applied to Baltimore Child and Youth Fund, and we nothing every time. And some of the times we're even getting help writing the grants from some people who have gotten those grants. So
Right.
it's definitely super frustrating. And
Yeah.
we do, I'm sure this will sound biased, but we do excellent work. And um I can only imagine what type of work we would be able to do if we could actually be properly funded.
Right, right, because now you're basically making a dollar out of 15 cents and
Mhm.
scraping and scrounging to make it work. Like, imagine if you had a budget, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, no, I totally get that. I totally get that. So then let me ask you the $1 million question. Do you all like if you were fully staffed,
Mhm.
right, and fully funded, do you know what that number would look like for a year of service? Like how much what what type of investment would that take?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, so we're super tapped in with an organization called Building for God Community Foundation.
Okay,
They have been the only foundation that's ever given us any type of finances, and
right,
they also, what comes with that is they have a 40-person board of all serious professionals, lawyers, accountants, financial specialists, people who throw events. And they have really taken us under their wing, and like they've helped us build a budget. They've helped us learn the financial ins and outs. And a lot of the stuff is we're learning this as we go.
right.
And so we definitely know our numbers, and we definitely know where we need to be. We've basically, going into 2023, um, we need about $100,000.
Okay,
Um, and that would be me being able to pay some of our trainers that have been here just working hours and hours and hours and asking for nothing in return.
right,
Um, and basically, we're in a situation with our landlord at our facility where our first year here is prorated, our second year is prorated, and then our third year will be full rent. And so um, by the time we get to our full rent, we're looking at more of like a $250,000 a year budget,
right.
which sounds like a massive amount to me, but compared
No,
to what a lot of organizations run on, that's an extremely lean drop in the bucket for a lot of organizations.
it really is. It really is. I mean, and when I think about it, it's like you guys should probably be asking for more money,
Mhm.
but in our minds, it's like, well, we would do this for the community for free. Like I'm
Right.
doing it anyway. I'm showing up because this is what needs to be done, but
Right.
Quite frankly, like, they need to cut the check, cut the half a
Yeah.
mil, cut the check,
It,
like, make it happen.
yeah. I mean, we have right now all of us hold full-time jobs. So
Yeah,
we all work all day long, and then we all come in here and we train and work with the kids all night long. And so allowing us the opportunity to not have to carry full-time jobs along with my partnership with the schools, we would absolutely be able to expand our programming not just in the evening but during the day. We would be able to be in the schools during the day.
right.
So there's definitely parts of our program model that are unable to be unrolled at this point just because we can't get the funding.
Right, there's some limitations there, there's some boundaries.
Right.
I understand that. That is really interesting because I feel like that's the case for quite a few after school programs that
Mhm.
they would expand, to in-school services because we know that schools are getting rid of your athletics, your fitness, your arts, like all of these things that get the jitters out of the kids, and it's necessary, like, for adults too, like, even we're
Mhm.
supposed to get up and move around, so all of those
Yeah.
things said, it's like you have each piece of the puzzle, so hopefully somebody's out there listening or will replay this and be like, "You know what? I got fif I got some money that I could go ahead and just
Mhm.
cut the check, just go
Yeah.
ahead and send over half a mil, ba-da-ba."
Mhm. That'd be
Let me
huge.
ask you this, who else, you mentioned a couple of different organizations that
Mhm.
you're working with. How did you even find this grand board and get
Yeah.
caught up with all these folks? How did that happen?
So it's actually a pretty cool story. So my wife that you met when we came out to your walk, she's the assistant director here, and she used to be one of the fitness directors at the Y in Towson.
Okay,
This was pre-COVID, and through her time at the Y, she ended up meeting a few of the board members on Building for God Community Foundation and just started fostering relationships with them. And she ended up being invited out to the last gala that they had right before COVID shut the world down. And
great.
she was plugging us in. And honestly, our our connection to Building for God Community Foundation is 100% because of her hard work.
Wow.
She nurtured the relationships. She she's such a personable person and a good-hearted person that they really clicked with her right away. And they gave us the opportunity that so many people have kind of just snubbed their nose at us, and they really were like, you know what, we our organization is designed to support people like you guys.
Is that a service that they offer, or was that just because of like the blessing that your wife is like? How did
Mm.
that?
Yeah. The gala that they had that she went to, basically they do every year a champion award. They this past year, I think they do two or three every year. And basically it's just like applying for any other grant. Their window opens, their window closes, and then they go through, and it's the most personal experience I've ever had working with the foundation. They interview you multiple times. You get interviewed by multiple people. They don't just approve your application and say, okay, here's your money. They want to know who they're working with. They want to know um, how committed they are to their mission, and if they're also looking to build intimate long-term relationships with their champions in life. They call them CILs, champions in life. And so they would absolutely be somebody I would recommend if you're any young organization, nonprofit, looking for a not only just somebody to help give you some money, but also for people that are truly interested in your overall success. And when I say they open up their whole network to you, like I call and say, hey, I have an accounting question, and within 24 hours an accountant calls me and we sort it out. Or like, I have a question about our team wants to do this type of event and we have no idea how to throw events, and next thing you know, we're sitting in a board meeting with them, going with their event planning team, getting to pick their brain and them offering help. So they're an amazing organization. Michael Brooks is the founder of Brooks Financial, and he's also the CEO of that organization. I recommend everybody looks it up and look into them. And if you're serious about the work that you're doing and you're really interested in giving back to the community, they are all about supporting.
What say the name of the org again?
The organization is called Building for God Community Foundation.
That is, I just all the things that you said, like the fact that they interview you multiple times,
Mhm.
that you can call and get like follow up information. Like foundations don't
Mhm.
typically operate like that. It's very like Chap says, it's very transactional.
Yeah,
No, it's not very the relationships don't feel like they're being formed. And that sounds amazing.
yeah,
We have so many watchers that are nonprofit organizers, community folks. So again, Building for God Community Foundation. I think that is something worth looking into for anybody. Like
agree.
Michael said, yeah, that's pretty dope. So you mentioned two things to me. That one, we can do a tour of the facility.
Oh, there's my dog barking in the background.
I like it. What kind of dog do
So,
you
go
have?
ahead.
We can still hear you, by the way.
Okay, perfect.
What kind of dog do you have?
I got a blue and white pit bull named Thor. He goes right
Oh, look at Thor.
here.
So cute.
Yeah.
So cute. I had a brindle pit bull. I think
Oh
I
yeah,
said that when I met Thor.
yeah.
Okay, so cool, cool, cool. So eventually we want to do a tour, but before the tour, mention let's talk about the women and girls situation you got going on in November.
Ori.
It's okay,
Uh,
Thor. Ain't nobody doing nothing to y'all.
awesome. Sorry about that.
It's okay. So the event on November 12th.
Yes. So on November 12th, our organization is having an awesome young woman named Sanika Winston. She's out of Virginia Beach. She is a female champion in jujitsu. She's
Oh,
also a black female, which is extremely rare
right.
in jujitsu. And she's also very passionate about getting women, especially black women, onto the mats to share this thing that we all love. And outside of just loving it and it being a great way to physically express yourself and get in better shape, it's
Right.
also an amazing martial art for being able to protect yourself and defend yourself, which in the world we live in is very important.
Extremely important. And so November 12th, that's a Saturday.
Yes, ma'am.
What time are the festivities?
So I'm going to send you guys a flyer that we have when we get done. And but it is so from 11 to 1, we're
Okay.
doing she's doing an introductory to jiu-jitsu girls only seminar, and that's for ages 10 to 17. And
Okay.
that's 100% free. So all of like any young girl out there, come check it out. Sanika is amazing. Her technique is world class. And she's a great teacher too. And we're so fortunate that she's willing to come up and share her information with everybody.
Oh,
So girls ages 10 to 17, Saturday, November 12th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. is girls 10 to 17. It's completely free. From 2 to 4 p.m. is a women's seminar. Same concept, introduction to jujitsu. And it is women only, and it's $25 a head. Or if you bring multiple people, it's $20 a head.
okay.
And it's a 2 hour introduction to jujitsu, women only, with somebody who is more than she has more than enough credentials to teach. And like I said, black female who is very very interested in getting more black women on the mats.
I love that. I love that. I love it, love it, love it. So I can't wait to share that flyer. So we'll share that flyer. So that's November 12th. And then are you guys still doing aren't you doing some adult classes
Yep.
on Sundays? Tell me about that.
Yeah. So as we were talking about earlier, funding has been an interesting battle for us, and so we were forced to really kind of sit back and figure out like how we could build some funding, some revenue streams in without just waiting for somebody to come help. So we um we offer adult classes in boxing and jujitsu. Jujitsu's adult classes are starting formally on November 5th.
Okay.
And so I'll kind of run through all of that. But basically, Monday through Thursdays from 6:30 to 8 are boxing and jujitsu for adults. And then on Saturdays from 10:30 to noon is boxing and jujitsu for adults. So they'll basically Monday through Thursday and Saturdays is boxing and jujitsu. And then we've been running with chat, we've been running a community kind of like a little community mixer jujitsu class where we're bringing some kids in and Dason's been bringing some kids in from Level Up Baltimore, and Chap's been in here with his wife, and it's been super dope and fun way
I
to
love
spend your
that.
Sunday mornings.
Right.
So I think we're gonna, we originally just did it to give it a kind of a try, and I think we're gonna keep it around, and it's a good way to get people in that have never done it and meet people and network and learn a little jujitsu.
Right. I keep telling Chap, I'm like, Chap, I know it's 8 o'clock in the morning. He's like, yes, and it's before the walk. Like, you should come before the walk. I'm like, but we set up for the walk. Like, I'm at
Uh,
the walk at like 8:30. Sometimes we meet the doctors there at 8:15.
yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna be in class and have to leave. But if you all keep it up, I'll be able to join like toward the end of December. So I'm looking
Cool.
forward to getting in
Yeah.
there and exercising a little bit more than just walking around the lake.
Yeah.
I
Well,
will.
well,
I was gonna say I will advocate keeping it going just so I can fight you, and I got a couple weeks on you. So
You don't want none of this. You don't
no, I
want
don't.
none
I
of this.
really don't.
yeah. His wife be beating him up.
I
She
heard
loves it.
Brandy said that she was flipping him over. I was
Yeah.
like,
Bro,
what?
so you know what the best part is? So Dason with Level Up brings his kids. Jefferson Butler, one of our chefs that caters in the community, came through. Um, the kids last week came through, and there's like, "Where's the lady? Where's the lady?" Right? And so we have like the lady comes who teaches them Spanish during the week through Coach Mike's program. She comes in the morning with Mr. Seda, who also
Yep.
teaches Spanish over at Tunbridge. And but there's a couple ladies. There's Miss Monica, right? And then there's my wife, and there's Miss Ori.
Yeah.
So the kids, Dason's kids, came running up the stairs. Where's that lady? And I was like, "There's a couple ladies here, guys. Who are you talking about?" Like knowing they were talking about Miss Ori because she flipped the junk out of Dason. I said, "Oh, you mean the lady that flipped Dason? Yeah, where she's at? Where she's at?" So like his wife is like hood famous because she flipped Dason, and like everybody heard about it already.
Uh,
They're like, they want to see it again. Do it
But it's
again. Do
it's
it
yeah
again.
it's all love. It's very fun. The boys, both the boys and Coach MJ's program and Dason's program are very respectful. They're about something, and so it's a great space to be in with them. Seeing that they have some discipline because of the programs they're in with these guys. They have some basic manners. They have some basic discipline, and they're building on that, and it shows. And the kids are like, you can see them at work in the class when they're being introduced to the program. They're asking the right questions. They're adapting so fast. Me and my wife sit back and we're a little older, so our learning curve isn't that our brain isn't as elastic, but watching these guys and their learning curve and just watching them engage and ask the coaches the right questions and seeing how they adapt so quickly, we're amazed at the work. And it's like it really is beautiful to see them in his space and just being young men, right? And engaging. It sounds, if you haven't had the conversation with me, you might not understand, but engaging violence in the proper context so that it can be constructive is like huge
mhm.
because there's not a lot of outlets for that, and there's not a lot of space and grace in the community anymore for the violence we grew up with, even in the '90s, and taking it back a little further because things are different. It's a different culture. So for them having that space to constructively build on that and understand the power and the discipline and all these things and the discipline and power of not using the violence that you have control over it and all these other things is really some important stuff we could probably talk about on another show with Coach, man.
Mm.
But I love what you're doing over there, bro. And like you said, the community thing on Sundays, you know, um, it's a really good introductory to not just not just a class or some fellowship like we have at the walk. And so I invite everybody that comes to our walk when we shut it down for winter, come get warm in the gym, man.
Yeah.
But there, because it's
Right.
also that community spirit is there, and but also introducing people to the work that Coach MJ is doing with Coach Dennis and Coach Ori. We have community partners that are like doing really good things, and so to be able to connect them in a very, very physical, hands-on space is a very unique. It was unique for me to put hands on Dason and just wrestling, jujitsu wrestling with him. Right? He's very respectful and stuff. And he's always been very respectful. But like on that mat, he ain't show me no respect. He ain't give me an inch, bro. like
Yeah.
like he made me earn it, and I love that. It was like
Yeah.
it was just it's a great thing you're doing over there, bro. And I just applaud it and support it any way I can. So, well, and I'll get off my soapbox. But I wanted to ask you, like you're talking about sustainability, like so as you're progressing, right? Like you're talking about all the classes and programs for adults, and so like what is like straight up what's the cost to be a sustainer of your work in your gym that you're doing?
Yeah, so I mean, like so memberships are starting at $100 a month if you want to do just boxing or just jujitsu. If you would like to do both and have access to our strength and conditioning area as well, it's 125 a month. And we were very, very thoughtful about what prices we made because, like, it's important to me that we don't price our people out of the neighborhood, right? But at the same token, it's like, like I said, we've been writing grants and we've been out here begging people to, connect us to some foundations that would be willing to support us, and nobody's been able to come through yet. So,
Par for the course, man. But let me comment on that real quick. Is that like so for $25 a month, like that goes a long way. So for me, it's like a no brainer. Like I can show up, $25 a week. I mean, so $25 a week, I can show up. It's $25 I can spend on coffee that week or cigarettes, which I quit smoking, which actually pays for me and my wife every week. Holy crap, right? So like this no brainer, but that money isn't just for me and my wife.
Hold
Like
on.
that
that's
Did
money
you
dope.
is
say he
like
quit
sustaining.
smoking?
I mean, I got to, man. I gotta look. I can't be a promoter of health and not live that, right? I gotta
Yeah, I
But
I
like
gotta be
that.
that
genuine,
is
right?
I mean, come on, like give it up,
Oh,
give
it
it
was
up.
Yeah,
yeah, well, it's killing me on set today, but no.
Listen, it's a decision that needs to be made. Like you made that decision. So go ahead. I just didn't
Yeah,
want you to skate over that so
we
quick.
can skate over it. It's fine. I'm good at quitting smoking. I really enjoy it. So it's like for me, it's just like I gotta let that go.
Yeah.
But my point is that little bit of money, that 25 a month or 25 a week, for me showing up and using the space and getting knowledge, absorbing knowledge from the coaches, and engaging like a really fun physical activity with my wife, and she loves beating me up on the in the proper context. But that's also serving like every kid in that in then
yeah,
in his program, because what they do for the kids, like he just mentioned with the jujitsu lady coming in November, but every day he's out here, he's doing it for the kids for free. So my money is not like it's not going in his pocket. He's not buying a new neon sign for the gym, man. It's sustaining and maintaining and sponsoring the kids that are already there putting in the work. So I think
yeah,
it's very important to understand like engaging his gym and for this small cost is yes, it's going to benefit you. It's going to help you build community and relational equity in the community and with the coaches and stuff and learn some self-defense. But more importantly, you're sponsoring like a ton of kids who are, if you meet them, if you go to the space and meet them, they're worth so much more than that little bit they're asking for, man.
yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
and we work really hard. Coach Childs works with me in the boxing program. You mentioned Coach Dennis and Coach Ori, and like outside of just like coming in, like it's good instruction, right? Where we've all spent our time, we've all done our reps, we all, have worked with kids and adults. We've done this for a long time, and so you definitely get your value coming and going. I feel like it's a number one. I think Chap could probably speak to this too. Like I think we have a really amazing culture here. It's you go to gyms, if you've been in the gym culture, it's a little weird. People are funny acting. We have a big family culture.
Hmm.
Everybody pulls you in, welcomes you, loves you. But it's competitive. but we want you to, if you're here training, our goal is that you leave feeling like you learned something. You should feel better about yourself. You should feel like this is where you want to come back to, because the way that we look at it is, the more chaps and quetas that we get that want to come in and spend their time here, the more resources that our kids have access to.
And that is so true. That is so true. I love that you're tapping into like just the community right there. It's super organic. It's not forced. Like, I mean, but you've been doing this for years and years, so you know what you're doing. But it's refreshing because Chap knows that every now and again we get folks on here that are just like, why don't you get it? Give the community what the community needs. But obviously, the community needs this.
Yeah.
If just that fast, you've only been there 3 months and you're operating all the days of the week. Like that's a big move. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Somebody needs to cut the check. Like, somebody needs to cut the check. So, Chap, we had actually spoke about like a budget, like the center operating now kind of on like a part-time budget, like after school, 100,000 easy. But if it were to go full time and to be in schools, MJ said something like, I think 25. Wait,
like 250 probably. I mean, like,
mil.
yeah,
I said half.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll share with you, like, I don't the space I'm working at now, and I won't mention the name just in case I'm not allowed to give their information out, but they're open 2 days a week for 5 hours, and that's like a $75,000 operation for 2 days a week, 10 hours a week. Yeah. And
I
that's
mean,
and that 75,000, let me tell you, just 2 days a week, 10 hours a week is it's spread very thin, bro. It's like it really it helps, right? Because it's something, but it's not as much as people think. That's all.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's, I mean, and a lot of that will, luckily, because of where we are in the city, our overhead is minimal. Like even once our rent is at full tilt in 3 years, we're still at $1,000 a month for rent for 2,500 square feet. I mean, our BG&E bill is almost as much as the rent.
Right.
So,
that's a good point.
But like, there's a lot of nonprofits out here where if you looked at their budgets, they're spending $10,000 a month on rent for a facility or something like that.
Yeah. So I met a guy. So just to like, toot my own horn a little bit today. I was filming down in DC, and I was talking with the guy who's like the master key grip, and he's from Baltimore. All right, his company's name is Mercenary Grips. So we're gonna plug in with him, right? Because he's out here on set working. And this guy makes no bones about it. He's Mercenary is the name of his company, and his logo is, when the money stops, so do we. And when I tell you, this guy was like, we're talking a little bit, and I was talking about some of the like smaller projects I work on with like Teresa Davis, helping her web series and doing little stuff. And he was like, bro, like my expenditures for one day might be 10 grand. Like he's like, I don't even know nothing about those small projects no more. I've been doing this so long, this and that. So plug it into Black entrepreneurs, plugging them into the gym, right? Plugging his guys into the gym. Maybe like, part of the niche we were talking about, and I'll put it out there a little bit on the show, is that we were talking about creating a gateway to our young people in the community to have access to what took me 43 years to figure out, and I kind of fell into it by accident doing the acting stuff. Like, there's pathways to do this for youth. They do the same thing I do, except they sign extra paperwork because they're under 18. They can get paid to be out here doing films. The stunt work, like if you need young people or training young people so when they're 18 they can get on the sets doing the stunt work. Stunt work isn't all crashing cars and jumping out of windows. Stunt work could be like taking like a little foam prop rock and throwing it at a car. That's stunt work. And so someone might get paid. I might get paid like today. I might get paid like a couple, $200, $300, $400. A stunt person is going to make 1,000 more just because they threw a stupid rock, right? So it's like, so there's all these opportunities that we want to open doors to for our kids and our youth. And then, so while we're out here on set networking with people of significance, right? People who are like Mr. Kenny with Mercenary Grips, like introducing them to him and giving him young men that you have groomed that have shown that they're disciplined and they're respectful and they have you've built a good work ethic in them, then handing them off to someone who's making the money, who doesn't have time for the BS, and giving them good, solid employees, right? With Quita doing the training she's doing, like she's doing the construction training, and I don't know, maybe we just talk about that one Monday night, just you and me, for the show. But she's preparing people to do more, right?
Mhm.
And once they have that knowledge and education, or that jump start, then we can hand them off to someone like Monique over at RE Harrington and say, here's some construction trained kids,
Yeah.
that you can rely on, put them to work, because she's the biggest contractor in Baltimore for underground utilities, right? So like making these connections are like super, super important.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Chap, and also to that point, it's like tapping into the community that is already around us, the network that we already
Mhm.
have, the people. Like, we don't need nobody from outside. Like, if you're from
Exactly.
outside, just cut the check because the work is already being done, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Says my queen from New York, but go ahead.
here you go with your non. You know what? I
You know
learned
what?
to drive
But
here.
look, you
I
choose.
graduated high school here. If
Look,
somebody asks, I'm gonna
but
say
you
Baltimore.
choose to live in Baltimore.
I do.
That's the difference. You're not from here, but you choose to be here. You're not
Oh,
stuck. Not at all.
Yeah.
and this is
Same
where
with me.
I've chosen to be. Smaltimore Homes. Okay. Thank you. So anyway, so can we take a tour of the
Yeah.
facility? Is that something we can get into?
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right.
Let me get you
So,
guys.
Chap, you've already been here
Hmm.
a million times.
Well, or five.
Yeah.
Something.
Mhm.
All right. So, if you guys can you guys see? Am I moving this around good enough?
Yeah, you're good.
So this is when you guys come into our facility. You guys know who this guy is right here.
Hey, he's the king over there.
So when you guys come in every day after school, if they're not having Spanish class on Tuesdays, they're sitting there doing homework, getting something to eat. It's pretty much that. If you go, this is Coach Childs, boxing coach. This is Coach Ori. You guys know Coach Ori. So we kind of have a little kitchenette area back here. Pretty much where we just store all kids' food. Which is also another thing we definitely could use some help with is working. We're trying to work with a couple organizations now to get some food in here.
Bread coin,
Well, yeah, I was gonna
bring.
say
Yep.
whatever you guys put together, breadcoin will match, bro. They've already
Cool.
said that. Yep.
Yep. So we definitely need to follow up with you on that.
Yup.
So when you guys come in, actually, this is my guy right here, Najee. He just won a strap on Saturday competing. This
I
is
saw the video.
this is all of his work right up here on the wall. He's doing his thing. He's getting ready to go pro here in December.
Noise.
Yep, when you come in the gym, got a little 16-foot boxing ring. We've got 30 feet of turf. We've got a strength and conditioning corner, which is my wife's company's Yamoja Fit. So she she trains her clients out of here as well.
I love it.
So we got a power rack, we've got a sled. A lot of our kids play football, so we try to keep them in good football shape. This is our jiu-jitsu mats. This is where it all goes down at.
Bro, the best part on Sundays is when the boys clean the mats, they sweep them and spray them.
Yep, they just
And
got
they,
done.
yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
That's what made me think of it. Is that one of the kids was like, "This is fun." Like out of his mouth, he said that cleaning was fun, and I'm like, "What? You're doing something right over there."
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys picked up on it, but like in the background while we were sitting there talking, at the end of every practice, the kids clean the gym. Our philosophy on that is this is your space. This is where you come to learn, and so they clean it. That we never clean it. We don't pay anybody to clean it. They take out the trash. They scrub the bathrooms. So the gym,
Yeah, and I've also heard it out your mouth, which is something we promote as well. Is you leave a space in better condition than when you showed up.
exactly.
Right. Yeah. I
Exactly.
love it.
Yep.
Dope. So there's places for folks to break bread, for you to train, for you to box, for you to flip some folks,
To study and learn Spanish.
Yeah.
Study and learn Spanish, a little bit of everything. It's like the whole ecosystem. You're being fulfilled, mind, body, and soul, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a pizza place going in the downstairs.
Yeah, it's a
Wait, what? Who's
yeah,
making the pizza? How is that going to
right. So that's gonna be bad for all of us here.
Right, y'all
I'm gonna have
y'all
to
need
go
to
out the
figure
back
out
door.
the cauliflower pizza crust.
That's not healthy. I don't believe that.
No,
Yeah,
chap, you just don't wanna eat that. Cauliflower
No, no, they're okay. The gluten free doesn't mean it's healthy. That's all I'm saying.
man,
well, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying, cauliflower pizza crust, like, go
yeah.
with the vegetables.
Oh
But
yeah,
okay.
Coach Childs is gonna have a pizza named after him. He's gonna be down there putting his money in there.
I know he ain't. You know what? I know he ain't gonna do that, bro. Because when, like, I think my first day, I showed up for the jujitsu, really just to meet the coaches, and check out the space. And we were, I think it was me and Jefferson were there.
Yeah.
Coach Childs was my sparring partner, and this dude wasn't even like flexing, but man, he's like his body is hard, bro. Like it was couldn't do nothing with him. He was solid. Oh
Yeah,
my
look,
goodness.
yeah. He's like what 5'6" or something like that, but he's like 165. He lifts every morning. He's an
But it's lean, bro. It's like it's
army
lean
guy.
and
Yeah,
mean.
yep.
Telling you.
Ex
Like little pit bull, huh?
Yeah, dude.
yeah,
Yeah,
was
he's
in
a
the
beast.
army for a while. You know, kept that same discipline. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, that's where that comes from. If not before the army, like,
yep,
yeah,
yeah. He was
yeah,
an athlete too. Played football in high school.
right. Already conditioning,
Yeah,
training, all that good stuff.
yeah,
Lord have mercy. So you work with all age groups, well, starting
Mhm.
at 10
yeah.
up until all the age groups. And basically, like you guys, I'm still like amazed that you're like open like 7 days a week. Like
Yeah.
that just is such a huge commitment. Like my goodness.
Yeah, people always say like, "Man, why aren't you open on Friday?" And I'm like, "Because by the time Friday gets here, I need a break." So
Mm.
like, and that's the only reason why. Honestly, like I think with funding and where I can, afford to not teach full time, like I don't see why we're not open 7 days a week. Our kids, and especially in neighborhoods like Belair-Edison, they need a spot. They need a place to go. They need to
Be
place.
constructive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's we're not,
And let me comment on that too. So there's people out here that like they have ideas and are trying to reinvent the wheel, but I invite those people, if you're not already up and rolling and involved, I invite you to step into the gym, see if your spirit resonates with what they're doing over there, and really plug in and fill in the gaps at this space
Mhm.
rather than trying to start from scratch, man. Because what he's doing over there, the young men that I've met, watching the young men that we bring in, just him initiate relationships with them and engage each individual young person like differently, recognizing the different characters and natures in them, and just approaching them, as individuals, but like having like building up quality in them, right? They're becoming men of quality, and you can watch it like right in front of your eyes if you're in that space. But I invite people to come in and come alongside you and be a part of that
Yeah.
process because it's proven you've been doing it. You were doing it out of your basement for like what 5 years. I don't know if you guys talked about that, but it's not like he just opened up a gym and started doing this. It's not like he
Mhm.
did this in his life, decided to do it for the kids in the hood. Like he's been doing this.
Yeah.
Right.
He just opened a space over down, was it Belair-Edison? But he's
Yeah.
been doing this, and so you know, jumping on and filling in the gaps where they're needed is so much more constructive and so much more healing to this community than trying to create another space and another program and another thing. Like I'm recognizing that, right? Like we do a lot of stuff across the city, and I'm looking like, why don't we bring everything over here?
Yeah.
It's the spirits there, man. The knowledge is being shared. The young people are being invested in, and you can watch them grow. If you're over there for an hour, you can watch the growth in them in that hour, man. It's very tangible. It's very real. So
I
Chad,
appreciate that.
I'll add to that. Like even the collaboration of it all, like that makes potential new grant opportunities, new funding
Mhm.
opportunities. You know what I mean? Like all of
Mhm.
those things like builds community, because not just Bel Air Edison needs help and not just West Baltimore needs help. Like it's all of
Mhm.
Baltimore. It's all jacked up. Like we all need to cross pollinate and
Yeah.
work with one another. So let me ask you this. How did you all find the space that you're in now? Like how did you even come across it?
Yeah. So that's 100% Senator Corey McRae. I so basically I was working at Glenmount middle school, and
Okay.
he came the year, I guess the year before COVID he came, and he was speaking at our 8th grade graduation, and I walked up to him and was like, "Hey, listen, I've been running this program in my basement for 2 years. I'm begging people for help. I'm begging for support. Nobody's helping me." Um, and he met with Ori and I, and then pretty much pitched us out to everybody in the main street corridors, Harford Road, Bel Air Road, and Belair-Edison hopped on us right away, and they actually we're in the process of negotiating with our landlord here to try to build some type of community center in this facility. This building was completely run down and was not usable, and he brought it up to specs so we could have it, and then offered us this deal.
Go ahead, say something,
Who
Q.
brought it up to spec? Your landlord or the or
Yep.
Corey?
No, the landlord.
Oh, I'm like, what? Tell me
Yeah,
more.
yeah. No, no, no.
Okay, so
He.
interesting. It's still, I mean, but that's still like working with the community,
Mhm.
like not demoing something, rehabbing it. Like that
Yep.
is all my jam, because these blighted buildings, like folks walk past them and there's a sense of I am not valued as high as others
But
because
look behind him, man. That space
it's
is brand
looking
new, man.
Yeah,
like, yes,
Wow.
yeah,
yeah.
that's why I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, revival. Yeah, man.
So
Restoration.
that was a
Right,
really big thing for me personally. We got a lot of pushback from when I would bring people in here and show them what my plan was, and I'd go over what our budget was to open this gym. They were always like, why don't you not spend $8,500 on jujitsu mats? Why don't you go get some used mats from the?" And I'm like, no, that's the problem. The problem is we expect our kids to be elite while giving them hand-me-downs and
crumbs.
bullshit from everybody else.
Yes,
And
right,
no, and so what was really big, I did not yield anywhere for this place. I was like, this place will be an elite
top
level
notch.
facility. And we had to go about it weird ways. Like the way we got our turf was from a company that had cut like a massive piece of turf for like a Under Armour facility or something like that, and it was a leftover scrap, but it worked perfect for us.
Right,
We built the boxing ring ourselves. Like we had a good friend that runs Next Epic Construction that came in and said, "Hey, listen, like I'll buy the lumber and I'll pay my guys to build it," and they built it. We spent almost $10,000 on mats, but they come with a 10-year warranty, and they're the best mats you can get in the business. So
right,
it was
right.
super important for me to not do what everybody does. And it's just like, oh, we'll give you this wrestling mat that your parents grappled on 45 years ago. That it's like, no, they need. And one of my favorite parts is when people walk into our gym and they're like, on the way up the stairs, they're like, I didn't even know there was a gym here. And then they walk in the door and they're like, holy shit,
Yeah.
this place is amazing.
Yeah.
Right, right,
That's what it should be, right?
right. Don't judge a book by its
But
cover.
as I'm looking behind you, man, I'm hearing you talk about the process. Like, it makes sense. Like when you walk, like I keep saying like because I can't articulate it enough. Like the spirit is there, man, and part of it is that restoration and that revival of the building.
Yeah.
It affects that space because you see that space. It's tangible, man. You can feel it. There's something different going on there, and it's just like, and you just spelled it out. It's because you didn't take you weren't willing to compromise and work with what you got and make something out of nothing. unless it was the best. So you didn't like go get the little red foldy mats from a church that's closing down like around the corner and
Exactly.
throw them down and like make them happen. No, you're like, this is the tools that elite, elite trained people use, and that's
Yeah.
what we need. So being unapologetically uncompromising, restoring a space that had been neglected and torn down and in decay, and man, all that has so much more value than just the transactional value that's up front and obvious.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, but also saying that the kids don't deserve all of that used hand
Exactly.
me down. Like, give me the new just like you would be doing if it were in the White L, right?
Mhm.
Like if it were on Boston Street or Pratt
Exactly.
Street or whatever the hell else that they build all of these other buildings that don't need to be built. But
Right.
I love this.
Yeah.
And
And let me comment too on this is like had you gone the route where you take some of the old hand-me-down mats from like the foreclosed schools that were closing 3 schools a year in Baltimore City, and churches are closing. So instead of taking that stuff, the leftovers, and putting it down in a space and then trying to tell the kids to take really good care of this trash, right? It
Right.
doesn't
Exactly.
work, man.
Exactly.
So
No,
you
it
got
does.
this brand new, like you got this brand new high quality equipment. Take care of my shit.
Yeah.
and you see the way that the kids are like, yes, we are happy to take care of this space. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, anybody with any sense would be like, our
Exactly.
kids are just as smart as anybody else. We're sensible. Like, come on,
Oh,
you know
for
what I'm saying?
sure.
Like, come on.
For sure. And I think that's the thing that our kids are starting to see. We take them outside of Baltimore City as much as we can. We put them
Right,
in. We've had a couple of jiu-jitsu scrimmages. We've taken some of our competing fighters, and even our kids that don't compete, we take them out and they see that, like, even coming from this little tiny I mean, and Belair-Edison is such a small neighborhood, right? Like,
yeah,
you're in and out of Belair-Edison in 3 or 4 traffic lights.
Mm-hmm.
And like, but like, they're seeing that, hey, I can compete with anybody, right?
right,
It doesn't matter whatever you want to
Oh,
compete in, whether
right,
it's boxing, whether it's academics, whether it's
right,
business, whether it's whatever. Like, I'm building a network here full of
yeah,
people that are all committed to being better versions of themselves. And like,
right,
that's all you need is
period.
resources, access
Yep.
to resources, and our kids will excel.
Yes,
man,
absolutely.
you nailed it, bro. Because Baltimore's got so much unveiled greatness, so much.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Like, and just like I had this epiphany for myself when I started dabbling with the background acting work, right? Like it was a learning curve for me at first, but I picked it up real quick. I started hustling. I started figuring stuff out, what they're looking for, and what it takes to be successful and keep getting work. And I realized, like, even though I was never in no plays at school, I was never in drama club, right? But drawing on my own life experience and then bringing that to the film set, I was really good at what they were asking me to do, even though I don't have speaking roles yet and stuff. I will. And I realized what it took, and I realized the greatness within myself that I'd never been exposed or unveiled before until I was in this situation, right?
right. You were
And
never
and
given
under
the opportunity.
right, and I was on set with like some really famous people who really sucked at acting. Like they
Hmm.
were terrible. They didn't know their lines. They didn't listen to the director. They were very unprofessional. I'm like, how are these guys so famous? And I realized that with our kids is like there is so much greatness, and if they just are exposed to the greatness within themselves and they'll understand, like I used to tell people like no soy nadie, like I'm a nobody, man. I'm just like a white
Yeah.
boy from Northeast, but like I've done security for Samore and Faison Love. I've been on set with Natalie Portman and Moses Ingram and Nakia Dion. I've done some pretty great things. I've met like some really great like athletes, like NBA players and Harlem Globetrotters and like all these things. And I'm just a like white boy from like Northeast Baltimore, right? But like in my life, I've experienced so many great things. Now I'm like everybody in Baltimore. We all have this potential to so much more than what we're told,
Yeah.
right? There's so much more to these young men that we're serving and I need them to see that in themselves and not just listen to what everybody's telling them they are. You're not just a survivor. You're not just a victim. you're so much more. And so exposing them to different perspectives, taking them on a trip when my man starts professional fighting, having them go with you and be in his corner, like you're in the corner, like they're going to be in the corner of a champion. How empowering is that? Like that's your bro that you trained with in that little gym up on top of the pizza shop, bro. Like it's
Chat.
empowering.
We have 15 seconds to
Oh,
say goodbye before Robert comes on.
last words, coach. You got it.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. I would love for any and everybody to come by, see the culture, see the kids, see what we're doing. And I appreciate you guys.
3205 Belair Road, after school, 4 to 7:30, Sunday mornings at 8, and Saturdays. Check out their IG. Love you guys.
Appreciate you guys much.